Are we all in?
Still got some more to go, actually.
Are we going to start then?
Yeah. Let's start.
We're going to start, even though there might be a few more still to come. Hooray!
Right.
Well, thank you all for turning up and being patient. And we're going to do a little bit, and then Chris is going to do some. We're going to have a little break and repeat that order if all goes well. So we're going to start with one called Earth Heartbeat.
Which is on the new CD.
Everybody switched on?
Chris's CDs are for sale tonight. They're £10 over the back. You can have Moon Pathways and mixed blessings for £10 for the two. So you can either have one of Chris's or two of ours.
We're not plugging anything really.
Now the Earth pulses with a special kind of electromagnetic wave called the Schumann resonance, which goes at about 8 cycles per second and has long been dubbed the heartbeat of the Earth.
Crashing on the shore, and you hear Would you, one that's not actually written by any of us, it's written by a chap called Bernie Parry. It's the Goblin's Riddle. Favourite of the
It's not any more written time, is it?
You said we'd record it, but we haven't. Next time.
Yeah, we asked him if we could and he said yes, and we promised that we would. We didn't. Never got round to it. Never mind.
old Shuck, the great black dog which patrols the boundaries of the East Anglian realm, is a spirit guardian, a Shucker, probably conjured up by the Anglo-Saxons. He has been encountered down through the ages. But if you meet Shuck, don't panic. If you keep your nerve, you will pass safely on your way.
When autumn comes to the eastern shore, and rain becomes hips and horns, and frosted rides the dawn of day, old Shuck comes padding to guide the way. When light is fading, the day was harsh, and mist comes rolling up all the marsh. The lonely curlew will tell his say, old Shuck comes padding to guide the way. You may feel him close behind you. He will follow and he will find you. Fear and dread then remind you. Your old terror may well mind you. Across the starry October sky, the cool geese float bright and high. Alone on foot, he must not So if you're very familiar with tarot packs, but we do a song that explains the tarot pack and how the tarot emblems come to be. There is a pack of cards telling a story all about a fool who grows wiser day by day. When he sets out, there is no one to guide him except for the knaves he meets along the way. Follow his journey and mark well his footsteps. Follow where only a fool can lead the way. If you are caught up on the wheel of fortune, reach for the star and you hear him say, one's the magician, knows all the trickery, and two, the high priestess with wisdom in her hand. Three is the empress, fruitful and earthy, and four is the emperor ruling over the land. Five is the high priest, spiritual leader. Six are the lovers who must think how they choose. Seven is the chariot, steering to success, and then eight is the strength you must never lose. There comes an old man, he's bearing a lantern, and follow his counsel, though he be old and grey. With truth and justice, be honest and humble, and be transformed when changes come your way. Keep your direction, and naught can restrain you. No death and the devil in spite of block the way. Glamour of starlight, illusions of moonlight, sunshine will shine on your world one day. One the magician, so full of trickery, and two is the high priestess with wisdom in her hand. Three is the empress, fruitful and wealthy, and four is the emperor ruling over the land. Five is the high priest, spiritual leader. Six are the lovers who must think how they choose. Seven is the chariot, steering to success, and then eight is the strength you must never lose. One's the magician, so full of trickery, and two is the high priestess with wisdom in her hand. Three is the empress, fruitful and earthy, and four is the emperor ruling over the land. Five is the high priest, spiritual leader. Six are the lovers who must think how they choose. Seven is the chariot, steering to success, and then eight is the strength you must never lose.
Set to the Welsh tune, The Lady of Scare.
We promised this for a certain little lady down there this next time. Demi, oh, we're pretty close. We promised we'd do this one, her favourite song. It was written by Cy Cow, actually, before the 5 years ago, he's unfortunately passed on. Beside Carol's farm, one of Linda's farm. This is called the beachcomber. Oh, as I was out walking on the north Lewis sands, there I met a little maiden who gave me her hand, and kissed it so sweet, and she followed me home, and she spoke in a voice so forlorn. All day I've been searching the shore for my skin, but without it I may not return to my kin. But the skin I had hidden to God with my life, and I asked her to stay with me, be my wife. Though we married so happy, for many a year with 6 beautiful children, without shame or fear, and kept my skin moist, but cleverly hid, always wanting the thing that she did. Till time came, she obviously longed to get back, and my son saw me hiding the skin in a sack. Told his mother, who waited till night, then she crept and she kissed us goodbye as we soundly slept. So she made for the shore to be rid of dry land, and her footsteps disturbing not one grain of sand. And she dressed in her skin and swam back to her folk, and on awaking my heart it was broken. And thereafter each morning down at the same spot lay a basket of fish, so she had not forgot. Since she went from my house, we would never hunt sails, and not one of my clan has been lost at sea. will ever with still folk be. first track on Moon Pathways, but we'll do the first track on the new album. Yeah. So we get my audio. Get little teeny weeny things down there. MP3s now, they're ridiculous. So thanks very much for tolerating us during our first set. Chris is going to be on in a very short while. There's teas, coffees, there are CDs for sale over there. I introduced the band. I wonder.
This is where they all leave.
You've always wanted to say it. All the way.
Yes, John.
You've always wanted to say it. All the way from Reykjavik.
All the way from Reykjavik. Well, I remember being on Radio Orwell all those years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, and
in the good old days.
we used to have a bit of a...
They had a
We had a spoof raffle, and we used to give the first prize used to be a winter's holiday under canvas in Reykjavik.
Chris won it. No. No, we didn't mean that, Chris.
And then nobody ever ended, I don't know why. But the man today comes from Reykjavik at the moment. Came all the way over here just to play for us tonight. So,
Sound all right?
those years ago, we got on very, very well, Chris and I, and I've always been an admirer of his music, so let's have a big hand for Christmas.
Thank you very much. There's so much technology here. Right, I'll start off with one you can all join in with. So you've all been sitting there very quiet. And the way this one works is I sing the first line of the song, and then you sing back to me to be a farmer's boy, and I sing another line and you sing to be a farmer's boy. You'll get the hang of it pretty quick, I think. So anyway, so it goes like this. One day when I was out to work, a job I went to seek, and you go, to be a farmer's boy. You got the idea, okay? Yeah. One day when I was out to work, a job I went to seek, to be a farmer's boy. And at last I found an easy job at £0.5 a week, to be a farmer's boy. Well, the farmer said, I think I got the very job for you. Your duties will be light, for this is all you've got to do. Rise at 3 every morn and milk the cow with the crumpled horn. Feed the pig, clean the sty, teach the pigeons the way to fly. Plough the fields and mow the hay, help the cocks and the hens to lay. Sow the seeds and tend the crops and chase the flies from the turnip tops. Clean the knives and black the shoes, scrub the kitchen and sweep the flues. Help the wife to wash the pots, grow the cabbages and carrots. Make the beds and dust the coal and mend the gramophone. And then if there's no more work to do, well, the rest of the day's your own. Well, I scratched me head and thought it would be absolutely prime to be a farmer's boy. But the farmer said, of course you'll have to do some overtime when you're a farmer's boy. He said, the duties that I've given you, you will be quickly through. So I've been thinking of a few more things that you can do. Skim the milk and make the cheese and chop the meat for the sausages. Bath the kids and mend their clothes. Use your dial to scare the crows. In the milk put the chalk and shave the knobs off the pickled pork. Shoe the horse and break the coal and take the cat for his midnight stroll. Cook the food and scrub the stairs. Teach the parrot to say his prayers. Roast the joints and bake the bread and shake the feathers up in the bed. When the wife has got the gout, rub her funny bone, and then if there's no more work to do, well, the rest of the day's your own. Well, I thought it was a shame to take the money, you can bet, to be a farmer's boy. And so I wrote me duties down in case I should forget that I was a farmer's boy. You know it took all night to write them down, I didn't go to bed, but somehow I got all mixed up, and this is how they read. Rise at 3 every morn and milk the hen with the crumpled horn. Scrub the wife every day, teach the nanny goat how to lay. Shave the cat and mend the cheese and fit the tights on the sausages. Bath the pigs and break the pots and boil the kids with a few carrots. Roast the horse and dust the bread, put the cocks and the hens to bed. Boots and shoes black with chalk, put the hair back on the pickled pork. All the rest I forgot. Somehow it had flown, but I got the sack this morning, so the rest of me dies me oh. Good job too. Well, as one or two of you know, I used to live up the road in Leyston for a few years. That was about 40 years ago, believe it or not. And at that time, there was a number of people who I got to know around the area who were typically people of my grandparents' generation, born at the end of the 19th, 20th century. Some of you will have known many of them, people like Percy Ling and Oscar Woods and so on. One guy in particular became quite a good friend. His name was Jumbo Brightwell, and he lived just down the road. And he gave me lots of songs, and we would be, we'd go and sit in his kitchen and drink tea and chat about this and that. Occasionally, he would sing a song, and then he would say, "Oh, I think this would be a good one for you," and then I would get the words delivered through my letterbox a few days later, all written out on old Christmas cards and old greeting, birthday cards and stuff. And this is one of those. But the strange thing is, I never actually heard him sing this one, and so I just had the words, and I always really liked it and thought, oh, that'd be a good one to do, but never got round to it. And then just a few years ago, I came across a recording that was made of his father, Velvet Brightwell. It was made in 1953 when Velvet was 90 years old. And lo and behold, there's the tune for the song. The really interesting bit was that Jumbo said he got the song from his dad, but the words that he wrote out on the Christmas card for me were quite different from the ones that his dad sang on the recording from 1953. So I just took all of them and stuck it together and made one song out of two, essentially. It's called The Faithful Plough. Come all you jolly ploughmen of courage stout and bold, who labour all the winter through stormy winds and cold, for to crown your fields with plenty and your farmyards to be new, that bread may not be wanted, we must use the faithful plough. Adam in the garden, he was sent to keep it right. The length of time he stayed there, they say it was one night. He was conquered by a woman, and that you all do know. So soon he lost the garden, and he went to hold the plough. So Adam was a ploughman when ploughing first begun. The next that did succeed him, it was Canaan's eldest son. Some of this generation the calling now pursue, for we are all dependent upon the faithful plough. Samson was a strong man, Solomon was wise, Alexander for to conquer, he was all that we do prize. King David was a valiant man, and many 1,000 slew, but none of these brave heroes could live without the plough. Well, says the ploughman to the gardener, count not your trade as ours, but walk your curious borders and gaze upon your flowers. If it was not for the ploughman, both rich and poor would rue, for they are all dependent upon the faithful plough. Behold the wealthy merchant who trades in foreign seas, to bring forth golden treasures for those that lives at ease, with finest silks and spices and fruits and dainties too. They are all brought from the Indies by virtue of the plough. Well, I hope that those who hear this will count in what is true, that we cannot sail the ocean wide without the faithful plough. But they must have beer and biscuits, plum puddings, flour and peas, to feed the jolly sailors who plough the raging seas. Well, I hope there's none offended now with me for singing this, for it never was intended to be anything amiss. But if you consider it rightly, you'll find that it is true, that all the trades I've mentioned depend upon the plough. So come, all you jolly ploughmen of courage stout and bold, who labour all the winter through stormy winds and cold, for to crown your fields with plenty and your farmyards to renew. The bread may not be wanted, we must use the faithful plough. That bread may not be wanted, we must use the faithful plough. Well, John was saying they got some CDs on sale, and he also said I got some CDs on sale. The reason why I'm over here from Iceland is because I got a new CD on sale. So all the songs I'll be doing, apart from the first one I did, all the songs I'm doing is songs from the album. And there are various people on the album. Shouldn't do that, should I? Never put a thing on the electrics. So I just have to get used to bending over. So I'll be singing you songs from the album tonight, and this next one is a song written by a friend of mine who I've worked with at various times over quite a long number of years, and I've recorded his songs on most of the albums I've ever made, actually, because to my mind he's one of the best songwriters, definitely one of the very few best songwriters from this country over the last 60 or 70 years, and his name is Leon Rosselson. And this is a song which I first heard from him back, I guess it was, back in the 1970s. He did an album with Roy Bailey and Frankie Armstrong called Love, Loneliness and Laundry, and fabulous album. And this song was on it. But I was talking to him not that long ago because I wanted to sing this song on this new album, and he was telling me that when they did it then, it was actually already quite an old song. He wrote this in the early 1960s, but it's, as is often the case with his songs, it has this feeling of being strangely current. It's quite an unusual song in a way. It's a sort of kind of sci-fi dystopian world it's describing. It's called Once When I Was Young. When I was young, I would sit by the fire and dream till my eyes burned like coals, my body flared as the flames grew higher, and my bones glowed like embers, and I was afraid, and I dreamed of a world where I would be king, where the sun and the moon would be calling my name. Dreamed of a song that I wanted to sing, and a girl with a smile like a flame. I went out into the streets and rejoiced that the wind was hard. I took my place in the queue and waited, and when my turn came, they gave me my card, and I answered the questions according to the rules. They gave me a key and taught me the password. They wrote my name on a plastic label. My uniform was made to measure. I was 5'10" in my socks, and my outfit was normal, and I dreamed of a world where I would be king, where the sun and the moon would be calling my name. Dreamed of a song that I wanted to sing, and a girl with a smile like a flame. I went through the door that slid shut behind me. The walls were of granite, the windows of glass, and the building arose till it tore the sky. 1,000,000 people walked bareheaded as mourners, deaf as brass. I was allotted the 53rd floor, where the carpets were thick and a woman was there. She introduced herself, saying she was my wife, and something I recognized, her smile, the curve of her hair. And I dreamed of a world where I would be king, where the sun and the moon would be calling my name. Dreamed of a song that I wanted to sing, and a girl with a smile like a flame. Well, the carpets drowned the sound of our footsteps. Sometimes we heard voices and wondered if they were ours. We collected the tears and put them in water, and we grew them instead of flowers. The walls were of glass, the windows of granite, and the curtains were closed to keep out the sun. In the corner was a concrete cage where the children played until their turn should come. And I dreamed of a world where I would be king, where the sun and the moon would be calling my name. Dreamed of a song that I wanted to sing, and a girl with a smile like a flame. A million mourners are walking and waiting for death. My death, though they don't know my name. I'm 5'10" in my socks and my output is normal, and I've always kept to the rules of the game. My eyes are of glass, my body granite, and I've taken my place in the queue, waiting to leave. Once when I was young, I would sit by the fire and dream and dream and dream. I know you've all been just itching to know what my new album is called, so I'm going to tell you. It's called Hadelin, and everybody says, Hadelin? What's Hadelin? So I'm going to tell you that as well. The strange thing about making this album is a long time, in the making, as they often are. It sort of gradually came together over a period of some years, actually. And I was just sort of like gathering songs together, thinking, that would be quite nice to do, or songs that I'm thinking, I've been meaning to do this for God knows how long, and if I don't do it soon, I'll never do it. And so gradually I sort of had this body of songs and started to realise there were actually connections and themes and threads going through. And then, of course, I started to realise that I needed things to complete the patterns and the threads and so on. And so that's how I came to be singing this one. It's a song I've known about for donkey's years, but I never actually got around to doing a version of it. And it's a song which I'm sure a load of you know as well. It's often called The Trees They Do Grow High. Sometimes this version's called The Trees They Grow So High. There's towards the end of the song, there's this young couple, and the boy of the couple dies, and his widow makes him a shroud, and it usually says, the words of the song usually sound like, she made him a shroud of a holland so fine. Holland's a kind of linen fabric. But in this, the way I made the song was I took several versions that were collected by Cecil Sharp 100 plus years ago around Somerset, where I come from, and I kind of cut and paste them together to make one song out of three. And there was one guy, Jack Barnard from Bridgewater, and he had a version, but he sang she made him a shroud of the Hadelin so fine. And I think probably Hadelin is just like his sort of what you call Mondegreen of Holland. But the thing is, it's actually really clever because Hadelin fits the music better because it's 3 syllables and it sits across 3 notes. And otherwise you have to hold one note over 2 notes, one syllable over 2 notes. But anyway, you know, we singers, we get into this kind of nerdy territory. We don't normally go on about it like this. But and then when I was sort of thinking about what I was going to call the album, I thought, well, I could call it Hadelin because no one else is going to have an album called Hadelin. And so that's what I did. And the other really charming thing about this one is that in the last verse, it normally has a line that says something like, "Now my love is dead and in his grave does lie, and the green grass it grows over him so very, very." But in this version, he sang, "Now my love is dead and in the churchyard laid, the green grass it grows over him so very, very thick." Now that is what you call poetry. So anyway, the trees they grow so high. Forgot I put cap on. Trees they grow so high and the leaves they do grow green. The time has passed and gone, my love, that you and I have seen. It's a cold wind and a winter's night and I must lie alone. My bonny boy was young, but he was growing. Oh father dear, oh father, you do me cruel wrong. You have married me to a boy and I think he is too young. For he is only 16 years and I am 21. That boy he is too young and still growing. Oh daughter dear, oh daughter, I've done to you no wrong. Though I've married you to the bonny boy, he is not too young. When I'm dead and in my grave, he'll prove to you a man. The boy he may be young, but he's growing, and I will send him off to college for another year or 2. Then perhaps in time, my love, he will do for you. I will buy a bunch of blue ribbons to tie about his bonny waist, to let the ladies know that he's married. One day she was walking down by the college wall. She saw 24 young men playing at bat and ball. She asked them for her true love, but they would not let him come to her. They said he was too young and still growing. So at the age of 16 he was a married man. At the age of 17 she bore to him a son. But at the age of 18 years the green grass it grew over him. Sudden death that put an end to his growing. She made for him a shroud of a Hadelin so fine. Every stitch she put in it, her tears come trickling down, crying, once I had a bonny boy but now I have got never a one. So fare thee well, my bonny boy, forever. Oh, and now my love is dead and in the churchyard laid. The green grass it grows over him so very, very thick. I will sit here and mourn his death until the day I die, and I'll keep watch over his son while he's growing. I'm going to do one now unaccompanied. See, on the album there's a bunch of other people, but I couldn't bring them all tonight, even though they all live in this country actually. But, so this one is actually, when I do it on the album, I've got Jackie Oates playing fiddle with me, but tonight you'll just have to imagine her stood here fiddling away. And it's a song called Rosie Ann. And it's a version of a ballad. There aren't that many versions of it around. It's usually called Lucy One. But this particular version of it was collected down in Hampshire by a man called George Gardner, who about 100 plus years ago, he was going around Hampshire accosting poor old people in workhouses where they couldn't get away to see if they knew any songs. And he actually collected a whole load of songs. And he got this one, but what he actually got from the person who sang to him was the tune and the last verse. That was all. And the last verse is like the last verse of quite a lot of other songs. So what he had there didn't really tell him what the song was. And the guy just said it's called Rosie Ann, and here you go, sort of thing. And anyway, at that point, it could have been a lot of songs. But after he finished singing it and writing down the notes and what have you, the old chap turned him and said, "Of course, she had a baby with her brother." And that then was the key to what the song was. And so subsequently, a lot of years later actually, a guy called Frank Perslow, who put together a whole number of, we put four little songbooks together from the collection made by George Gardner and also collections made by two other people, the Hammond brothers, but all the songs were being collected in Dorset and Hampshire. So he then really liked the tune, so he went off and found old broadside versions of the text and was able to make a complete version of the song. And I then sort of tweaked it around a bit more the way you do to arrive at the song as it is now. And it goes like this. There Rosie Ann sits at her father's door, a-weeping and making moan. When by there came her own father dear, saying, "What ails you, Rosie Ann?" "Oh, a deal and a deal, dear father," she said, "good reasons have I for to moan. For there lies a baby between my two sides, between me and my brother John." There Rosie Ann sits at her father's door, a-weeping and making moan. When by there came her own mother dear, saying, "What ails you, Rosie Ann?" "Oh, a deal and a deal, dear mother," she said, "good reasons have I for to moan. For there lies a baby between my two sides, between me and my brother John." There Rosie Ann sits at her father's door, a-weeping and making moan. When by there came her own sister dear, saying, "What ails you, Rosie Ann?" "Oh, a deal and a deal, dear sister," she said, "good reasons have I for to moan. For there lies a baby between my two sides, between me and our brother John." Well, her brother John was sitting in the very next room, and he heard what she had for to say. And then he's gone straight to his sister Rosie Ann, just before the dawning of the day. He said, "You have told our father, you have told our mother, and you have told our sister, all three." And then he's taken out his sharp broadsword, and he's cut her fair body in three. "Oh, what is that blood on the blade of your sword, son John? Come tell it unto me." "Oh, that is the blood of my racing horse, dear mother and fair lady. But your horse's blood, it was never so red, son John, come tell it unto me." "Oh, that is the blood of my greyhound, dear mother and fair lady. But your greyhound's blood, it was never so clear, son John, come tell it unto me." "Oh, that is the blood of my sister Rosie Ann, dear mother and fair lady." "Well, what will you do when your father comes to know, son John, come tell it unto me." "Oh, I will take his best riding horse, and I will go as far as I can see." "And what will you do with your bonny young wife, son John, come tell it unto me." "Oh, I will set her foot onto yonder shipboard, and I hope that she will follow me." "And what will you do with your bonny young son, my son John, come tell it unto me." "Oh, I will leave him here with you, my mother dear, to keep in remembrance of me." "And what will you do with your houses and your land, son John, come tell it unto me." "Oh, I will sell them all and give you the money to keep my young baby." "And when will you return to your own land again, my son John, come tell it unto me." "When the sun and the moon lie in yonder shady bower, and I know that will never, never be."